And we are live. Good evening with hashtag Jeopardy Live panel presented by thejeopardyfan.com. Once again, I am Andy Saunders, and I will be moderating tonight's discussion. This is Season 2, Episode 27, March 13th, 2016 at 7 o'clock p.m. So, let's see. Let's start off with the introductions of the panel tonight. First up, we've got returning to Jeopardy Live panel for I don't know what your count is at this point, but you've been on a lot recently. But thanks for joining us again, Aria Gerson. Thank you. And then also from this week's episodes, we've got Bill Patschak. He was on Wednesday's episode. Jeff certainly generated a lot of discussion, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. But first up, a couple of other things. Kristin Sausville will be joining us a little bit later on, and so she'll be coming in at some point. Also, I attempted to get Victor Ferreira. He was on Friday. He sends his regrets. Unfortunately, he was not able to join us. He just got off work this evening, but he was not able to get home in time to join us on panel. So he sends his regrets. Also, he wants to assure myself, a bunch of other people in my country, his country, our country, that he is certain that he is not going to be the last Canadian on Jeopardy. So that's good news, important news. Whether that means they've got it worked out, he did not say, or there are more Canadians who are going to be called. But he is certain that he is not going to be the last Canadian on Jeopardy, and I am very glad to hear that. Some other housekeeping items. Hopefully, within the next week, Jeopardy Live panel will be searchable on iTunes. What I've done recently, I've taken all of the archived audio from these and have put them together on a podcast. Or as part of a podcast series, you can actually find them currently at thejeopardyfan.com/Jeopardy Live panel, or hopefully it's been submitted to iTunes at this point, but hopefully it will be up on iTunes in the next week. And finally, my final thing right off the top, there was a lot of discussion on J-Board this week, and some not so nice things being thrown around by various posters over there. I believe the adjective stupid at one point was bandied about. But I just want to say, Jeopardy contestants, by definition of having passed the contestant test and appeared on the show, are categorically not stupid. They may make decisions that you may not agree with, and they might elect to play the game differently than you might elect to play the game. But that does not make them a stupid person. Seriously, stop it. They're smart people. Okay, so, Bill.
Yeah.
I guess watching Tuesday's game in the audience, you obviously saw Annie's mistake in Final Jeopardy.
Uh-huh.
How did that feel? How did that feel from the audience?
I really wanted to play next. I was really hoping they called my name. I was like, if she's gonna bet like that, then I have a good chance of winning if I'm down. I really hope they called my name. We don't know what happened. We don't know if that was her plan or if she misread something or what. I haven't talked to her since it happened, but it was definitely interesting. I felt like Alex said more about it, but maybe they cut it, or maybe I just don't misremember it. But I feel like he had a lot of comment about it.
By the way, if you do have anything to add to our panel, you can always use the hashtag Jeopardy Live panel on Twitter, and I will read that out generally to the panel itself. So obviously your name was called to play against Annie, and I guess you were kind of licking your chops a bit.
I was real excited. I just felt so ready. I was ready to play. I'm glad that I got called as early as I did. Obviously I didn't win, but I felt like I should have. I felt like I could have. I didn't read anything that was posted online. I haven't read Twitter. I haven't read JBoard. I don't know what people are saying. I talked to my friend Andy Kravis, and he said, "Don't read it." People are probably saying things about me, but I don't regret anything that happened. I would play the same way.
Nor should you. I think you played the game as well as you could have. It was early when you made that big daily double bet. It was early in Double Jeopardy, and there was plenty of it's as someone like Alex Jacobs showed that that's what you got to do. And I guess my next question for you, when you saw the clue after going the first True Daily Double, what was going through your head? What was your thought process?
Yeah, so that's probably why. So I read it and it said Asian island nation and gem of something. So when I thought gem and Asian island nation, I immediately went to Indonesia because its nickname is the Emerald of the Equator, and that's a gem. So I'm like, okay, Indonesia. And then I went down further and had Sinhalese. I'm like, Sinhalese is not Indonesia. I know Sinhalese, but I don't know why it's not Indonesia. So I eliminated Indonesia. I immediately went to Sri Lanka, and then I'm like, that's not Sinhalese, that's Tamil. Tamil is Sri Lanka, so it's not Sinhalese. And I'm like, what other island nations are there? There's Philippines, there's Japan, it's not either of those. And I was running out of time, and my brain started in the wrong place, and I eliminated, obviously, the right answer. And, when you want to say something stupid comes out.
Well, yeah, I mean, you were, you were almost there. Like, Tamil is Sri Lanka, but so is Sinhalese. They're unfortunately they're the two groups at war with who's been at war with each other. But,
well, and the shame is that like if I had if it was one of those questions where I had 5 minutes, I probably would have came to that guess just by elimination. Like I can only think of like 4 Asian island nations they would probably ask about in an answer line on Jeopardy, just based on the canon of the show. It's either going to be Indonesia, Philippines, Sri Lanka, or Japan, and I essentially eliminated all 4 of them, which is why I get so confused and just said the stupidest thing ever. But like I feel like if I had to guess one of the 4 of those, which is the only ones I think they would have asked for, I would have gone to Sri Lanka. But in the 10 seconds they give you, I was just so sure. I'm like, no, that's Tamil. That's the language name I know from there. This name Ratnapura I've never heard before. It sounds familiar. It sounded Thai, but so I thought Thailand. I'm like, that's not an island. But time ran out, and I had to say something, which is why I made the dumb, hey, that's not even an island nation, which I'm sure I got feedback for it. Whatever.
Now, I guess you did a lot of preparation. Is that correct?
Yeah.
How did you choose to prepare for the show?
Well, as soon as I got the call, I mean, I know so many people that have been on the show. Like, I know most everyone. When you get on the show, they ask you to list everybody that you know that has appeared on the show. And I had to do like 3 or 4 pages. I had like over 100 names, just of people that I've met through various trivia conventions and such. But one of the people that reached out to me when they found out I got on was Alex Jacob, who we all know Alex Jacob. He has a very similar play style as I do, and he had recently won the Tournament of Champions, and he reached out to me and he said, hey, I heard you're going to be on Jeopardy. Like, let's get you ready. Like, I'll coach you. So I was in very good hands. He would run facts with me and help me cram and tell me what to do and give me a mindset. And, like, for 6 weeks, I essentially secluded myself to just learning things I didn't know that was within the canon, using the archive and such, and then just, like, running through boards on the archive and studying lists I didn't know and, solidifying facts that I did. And I felt so good. I felt so good.
And, just one clue comes up and just kind of derails everything.
Yeah, and I heard that people were saying, like, why would you bet that much? You were winning so bad. Like, one of my friends told me, he's like, hey, you played great, but I got to seriously ask you, what were you thinking betting that hard when you were crushing them so hard? Like, you were up so big, you didn't have to lose all that money. And I told him, I was like, yeah, but so you don't want the game to come down to the final. Like, you don't, like, as we saw, that final was stupid hard. If I would have bet 0 on both of my I know you have to bet at least 5, I think. If I would have bet $5 on both daily doubles, because let's just assume that I thought I was going to miss them or something, I would have had an extra $10,000, give or take. I would have been winning going to the final at like 15 to 11 to 10. In that case, I still have to bet to cover because I'm not going to lose by not betting enough. So I'm going to bet 8,000 or whatever, and I would have dropped below a third place wage who should have bet 0. Based on conventions of betting over those 2 games with Annie, I don't know what she would have bet if she was in that position, but I have to assume that I would have lost anyway had I not bet a lot. I just need to get those questions right. Like I don't think it has anything to do with like you shouldn't have wagered that much. Like, oh, what were you doing? Because like my view was I'm up 8,000 to 3,000 to 1,000. If I miss this $8,000, I'm down $3,000, which with the way I've been playing and the way I've been killing them on the buzzer, I'm gonna make that up in 2 or 3 questions. Like I'm not worried about staying in the mix. The other hand is if I get it, I'm up 16,000 to 3,000 to 1,000 while I'm already dominating them. This game is over if I get this question right, and I don't have to wait for the final Jeopardy to like. Even if I'm up 4,000, I gotta bet and I gotta hope I know it. I don't have to wait for any of that. I'm just done. I'm done at the beginning of daily double Jeopardy. Like I'm done. Like I wasn't gonna lose if I was up 16 to 3 to 1, especially with the way that I'd been playing. So I went big because I feel like it was a very high reward, a very low risk. Because even if I miss it, yes, I know I'm down 8,000. I shoot myself in the foot a bit. I can make that up easy. And I was coming back a little bit, and then I got the other daily double, and I missed that too. History and geography are not my 2 best categories. The first board played a lot better to my strength. I know lit really well. I know movies very well. Second board was just not my board, but I should have gotten both of them. I just with extra time probably would have, but you're up there. You get the spotlights on you. You can't think as quick, so whatever.
Yeah, I think we've all missed stuff that we should have known, like just because you're up there. I know I did it when I was on. I think it's kind of weird to like fault people for missing those clues or like saying things that they said, because like you said, you have to say something. So. Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's funny is I used to be the person that would do that. Like I never watched the show. I always just look at the archive games because I don't have cable. So I look at the archive games and it'll be like the category has an M in quotations. And they'll ask for a Shakespeare play and they'll guess like Hamlet. And I'm like, what are you thinking? Like M is in the category, but like if you're up there, you can't think of anything. You're like, well, I'm pretty sure it's not that. What could it be? It sounds like Hamlet, but there's not an M. Oh, time's running out. I got to say something. Hamlet. I don't know. So it's very hard to fault people for doing dumb things or not thinking or like I don't know.
So I guess my next question is at least on my list here. How tall is Gordon? You were in the green room.
How tall is Gordon?
How tall is Gordon? Because I mean, it seemed to me like on Friday, Victor and Katrina were like probably as tall as those boxes could go, and.
Gordon's like 6'4", 6'5". He's tall. He's taller than I am, but he wasn't like Kareem.
Give me 1 second.
I'd say he's like 6'4". That would be my guess. I'm curious to see what would happen if we found out for real.
By the way, Kristin Sausville has joined us. Thank you, and welcome to Jeopardy Live Panel, Kristin.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Hey.
So yeah, Kristin, we were just talking about before you came in, kind of Bill, the idea behind, of possibly saying things under the lights that or the lights causing you to say something that to an untrained eye at home might be really silly. And I was wondering if you had anything to add to that.
I do. Okay, so in my first game, I was the question that I was asked during my interview was about my 50 by 40 project, where I'm trying to get to all 50 states by the time I'm 40. And Alex asked me what state I'd like to go to and what I'd like to see there. And I mentioned Alaska, and then I was about to start talking about how I really want to go to Barrow because that's the northernmost city in the United States. And then all of a sudden my brain went like, ding, 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 don't say it, that's going to be a clue, and then somebody's going to beat you to it, and you're going to look really, really stupid. And so I just started blathering about light in Alaska, and I meant the midnight sun, but I couldn't quite articulate that, and so I said something like, I want to go to Alaska and see the different kind of light they have.
My stupid guess is So the clue was this country's highest point, Mount Kosciuszko, lies in the state of New South Wales. And like I knew it was Australia. I knew Mount Kosciuszko was Australia. But I saw Wales and I just was like, "Oh, Great Britain."
Oh, no.
No, but like I still cringe thinking about it. But
I think we have all been there.
Definitely, though I'm the only one who hasn't been on the show at this point of this panel, I think that that's definitely something that everyone who gets on has that kind of cringe-worthy moment.
Well, is that like kind of scary to like realize that like when you do get on the show, like it's inevitable that something like that will happen?
It's something that's, to be honest, I think it's something that's good to know, good to realize before you go on.
Yeah.
So that you don't, at least in terms of a matter of, I guess being able to move on from it, and not.
Justin's story about eating the worm that he had told in his first game, and he was kind of sanitizing it for TV, like as he told it. So that was kind of another one.
We have a comment on the hashtag from Fred Vaughn. I have my entire first fireside as my didn't wanna moment. I do not like talking shop. And from Carrie Green, hi Kristin.
Hey Carrie.
And from Jonathan Graham, Kristin, how close are you to getting all 50?
I am currently at 43. I'm going to get 44 and 45 this summer. That'll be Oregon and Washington. And we're planning to go to Alaska next summer, so that would be 46.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to this week in Jeopardy history. Today, actually, is the 16th anniversary of Robin Carroll on her initial appearance on Jeopardy. Her first game aired March 13th, 2000. In her initial run, she did something incredibly impressive. She had 5 lock games in her first 5 episodes. So she was a 5-time champion. All 5 games were runaways.
Wow.
So I asked the panel, how impressive is that?
Like, bow down.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't think, have we had a lock game like recently? I don't watch the show enough to know. When was the last time we had a lock game?
We had a lock game on Tuesday.
There you go. It didn't seem like a lock game when I was watching. No.
Well, I don't think Annie realized at the time she had a lock game either. But mistakes happen. From before.
I tell you what, I was definitely going for a lock game. If that makes anyone feel better. I was real close.
It reminded me of Kayachua's game. Yeah.
Did she win? She lost her first game?
Yeah.
She lost her first game to Carrie Green, yes.
So that's something I kind of want.
Also lost a lot on a daily double.
12,000. And she came up with the answer as the time expired, and yeah, both games just I felt so bad watching.
Yeah, I've spoken to Kaya since then. Like I met her after the fact, and she's very, very good. And
Yeah.
it's interesting. It makes me want to bring up a point of how many people are very, very good players that have not won a game.
Yes.
Like,
Justin and I were talking about this. Like, there are so many people that both of us say like they would have beaten us head to head, and they didn't win the game that they were in. It is just so capricious in a way.
Well, because every single person loses, unless you're Brad Rutter. Every person
Or
loses.
Claudia Corriere.
Or Watson.
Right. So every person loses, and it's just, like Matt Jackson was lucky that he lost his 15th game, and like these people that are in the tournament, and it's a testament to play that consistent to be able to make it to enough games to qualify for that. But there are a lot of players that happen to hit that game where they lose first, and it kind of sucks because like I watch The Voice very regularly, and people that come in and don't get a chair turn, they're like, come back next season, you'll do better. I promise you're really good, but it just wasn't in the cards for you this season. And we don't get that. We just going to have to be like, man, that sucked. We tried real hard, but, wasn't in the cards. So it's definitely impressive to win consecutive games because it's like I said, everybody loses, so it's not like people are out there that are just meant to win forever, and it just to be able to win consistently like that is definitely a testament.
The game that I lost was classical, like it was composers, and if that had been the final in my first game, like no, game over, like right there.
Right? Yeah, and like, well, and then there's the reverse of that. I know that Christopher Short, who won 5 or 6, he was losing going to final in his first game, and he got some question about the Glee cast, and he was the only one that got it, and he would have lost had he gotten a question like. Because usually the percentages of everyone getting it or everyone missing it is a lot higher than a couple people getting it, a couple people missing it. So when you're losing like that, you have to hope, okay, I hope this is the final, that I'm going to be the only one that knows it because I need this. And Christopher happened to have one of those. I know in my game I got the last clue correct, which put me at enough where I had half of the person in second. Because I think statistically the bets should have been that I think Katrina was winning my game at 11,000. She should have bet like 10,000 to cover a double potentially. Annie should have bet like 2,000 or something to cover if Katrina bet 0. And then my hope was that they both miss it. And like, I guess I should have bet like 5,000 or something. But like, I think Annie was up 5,000 exactly on me, and I had 5,200, and I just went all in because she could have bet 0 and hoped that it was a triple stumper or something and taken the win, or she only had to bet like 300 to cover my double or something. But either way, I didn't think there was any chance I was going to win unless I came up with over $10,000. And I was like, I need a question that's hard so they don't get it, and I can get it, and I can have a chance if everything works out. And it was just too hard. I had no chance.
Yeah, I mean that. Final Jeopardy is polling in the 20% range on JBoard right now. So
yeah, I didn't know it, but
I was there with some very, very bright trivia players, and I don't think any of them had it. Like Andy Kravis was there and he didn't have it. Jerome Vered was there and he didn't have it. Brian Federa was there and he didn't have it. It was maybe they were just making me feel better. Maybe they had it. I was like that. I was not there at all. Like I know Chamonix is French, but I know it's spelled with an X at the end because of the Olympic Games, because I know those cities.
Right.
And when I saw that spelling, I'm like, is that the same thing? And then I was told later, it's like, oh yeah, the English people, they just spell things differently. So if you see something that sounds French, but it's spelled differently, it's probably just because the English messed it up. Because my brain was on England the whole time. I was thinking like White Cliffs at Dover or Rock of Gibraltar or something English because of Shelley. And I didn't even get to Chamonix. And even if I had, I think Vale is like valley, so I would have thought to go down. Or like I would never gotten to Mount Blanc in a million years unless I'd heard of the poem.
No, Justin and I didn't get it either.
So that was I needed it. I needed it a little easier, but hard enough that they missed it, and it was asking for a lot with the way that the game worked out. But I was happy to come at least within half so that I had a chance. So that was good.
A few more comments on the hashtag. From Jennifer Morrow for Kristin. What if instead of finishing out 50 states, you just visit New York 7 more times?
And to that, I say, why not both?
Carrie Green, Second Chances Tournament. Kea is my top seed. And Jonathan Graham, I think they should replace Daytime Jeopardy with Second Chance Jeopardy.
That would be interesting.
Now, I guess, I mean, I don't know, obviously you guys have no real reason to hear what they happen to be saying in auditions, but I have a friend of mine who would just actually auditioned for the teen tournament, and he's reporting that at these auditions, people like Maggie are saying that once Alex's contract expires, they are really they're expecting that it is very likely that former contestants will be able to audition again. How do you guys feel about that?
I'm all for that. I would be great with that. If I could manage to pass the online test, that would be great.
Oh no, you go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, you can go.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So the reason that I auditioned and wanted to get on so hard this year is because I'm kind of worried that if Alex leaves, the show falls.
That's true.
That's my worry.
And it's definitely a huge worry. So I'm glad I got in a chance before he retires, because just, in the case of like somebody else comes on and hosts and the ratings go down or the game changes or they don't do a second chance thing, like I wanted to make sure that I had a chance to get on the show at its peak, when it's like at its best.
Definitely.
But yeah, if they do second chance, I'm definitely going to try again. I'm definitely going to want to get on again. It's going to be super, super fierce, though. The competition's going to be so fierce because there's so many people that have been on. Like, I can count more than my 10 fingers how many people I know are dangerous that have been on the show and not won and would definitely want to come back. It's curious to see who they would restrict it to. Like would they let Roger Craig come back and play again, or is it like well, you can come back if you lost to a cup like once after a game or two, but if you were a tournament champions player, you can't. I don't know. I'd be open for anything because I love the competition. I would love to go into there one day and see like 4 people I know and be like, all right, let's do it. I think it would take the nerves away. Like when I found out, so Steve Perry was trolling me and said that he was going to be playing Jeopardy on the same day as me, and it made me so not scared for anything. When I found out that he was kidding, I was just like, okay, there's no one I'm going to walk into there that day and be scared to play. Like if I don't have to play Steve Perry, I'm good. I'm like, whatever, that's fine. I don't care.
I mean,
trying to like have my cake and eat it too, because I'm thinking like, yeah, I would audition again. I would be all over that. But then I'm thinking like, could you imagine walking into your audition room and like there's Brad Rutter and there's Collins, and you're like, oh no, here we go.
Okay.
Like what Bill said, like I played Kara Spack on Learned League last season. I was like, oh my god, this is not gonna happen. And then I won. So I mean, I was just kind of like anything could happen. But then like, yeah, I mean, I would probably walk in there and be like, oh wait, I think I know you, don't I?
The hashtag with some thoughts already. We have a haiku from Jennifer Morrow. If contestants get to come back, I go on again. After training for years, show canceled immediately.
But hey, if you go on, you go on. I mean.
Here's the thing, is like I really want another chance to play Jeopardy specifically, because there's a lot of other game shows out there that I could go on and play, but I really, really like the buzzer system in Jeopardy. I feel like I had a strong advantage on the Jeopardy buzzer. I know a lot of people complain like, oh, I just couldn't get it on the buzzer. I couldn't do the buzzer. I felt so good on the buzzer. Like I haven't seen my Coriats yet. I haven't seen how many times I got in, but I feel like I got in over half the time. Like when I knew it, I could only count on like one hand how many times I got outbuzzed. Like I knew the 2 top row movie questions that Katrina beat me on, but I got the 3 under that. I know she beat me on the Paderewski clue, and that was huge because that would have been like a $3,200 swing. She went up 16. I would have been up 16 if she wouldn't have had it. I don't even remember any other time I got beat on the buzzer. Like I was watching it, I was getting in at will. Like I felt so good on it. I know that people don't, and I feel like I have a huge advantage in that style of the game with the buzzer on Jeopardy, and no other game has that buzzer aspect to it, which sucks.
Also on the hashtag, Elliot Yates should host. Ratings will go through the roof.
That would be amazing. Elliot just makes everything better.
As long as it's not Richard Quest. This is Daily Double, and you are gone.
That's only if you. Oh, apparently I can't count. Jennifer is claiming that I can't count syllables, and that was not in fact a haiku. My notifications are telling me. Oh. Contestants come back, I get to go on again, show canceled promptly. Yep, that's better. Okay. And apparently Liz Fritz is not near her, either a way of accessing YouTube, because apparently she is sad that she is currently missing the taping of Jeopardy live panel. However, once again, you may get a chance to listen to it. Obviously, you can watch it later on the JeopardyFan.com, or again listen to the audio-only podcast. But there's a couple there. I will say, spoiler alert: there's a video coming later. So You'll have to actually watch the video for that. But
Does this mean that like all my embarrassing stuff that I said on the Tournament of Panelists is now going to be preserved forever on the iTunes?
it's quite possible. Oh, oh dear. From Matt Carberry, R.I.P. Peter Tomarkin, who tragically died in a plane crash 10 years ago today. I guess he thinks, the ghost of Peter Tomarkin might have made a good host. So one thing I saw, I'm going to bring this forward. It was a comment on my own Facebook. I suspect I'm going to bring it forward for discussion. Let me just bring it up quick. Try to bring it up as quickly as I can here. But no, it was in response to I shared Keith's Friday post in his video with the caption, "Oh dear, Keith is finally broken." And Victor actually responded to it with, "I definitely looked into betting strategy, but as much as one can prepare, a lot of things happen in the moment that cause people to veer from planned strategy, including nerves and instinct. For example, I had spent all day with my competitors and figured they might bet very aggressively. And that was, what caused his final Jeopardy bet. Do we think that, in light of that it's possible for, contestants possibly to be kind of almost spooked by what they've seen in previous episodes? And if so, how can prospective contestants learn from that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I remember the first tape day that I was there, I ended up being the alternate and held over till the next day. And I remember kind of looking around the green room and thinking, like, yeah, they're going to be aggressive. Oh, they're probably not going to be as aggressive. And, there was one game where one player confirmed exactly what I thought about how they would play, and there was another game where a player just totally shocked me with how they played. So, I think it's an easy trap to fall into, but you can't trust your instincts 100%, and, unless it's like a player that you've been watching play game after game and they play the same way every time, and then you're just, going off of like actual evidence, that's one thing. But I think that's one thing that makes Keith's site so useful, is it gives you something objective to fall back on if like you doubt your instincts, or, if you just want to play as rationally as possible.
So I tell you what's interesting is in my game. So I saw Annie bet the Clavin, so I assumed that she was going to bet aggressively no matter what her score was. I did not, and I could be wrong about this. Maybe I saw it wrong. I didn't realize that Katrina was winning going into Final Jeopardy until I watched it on Wednesday. Like, she was winning, right? She was up on, and
Yes.
Annie was in second.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought when I was playing, maybe it's because I was on tilt and I was flustered anyway, and I was like, whatever, like I'm betting it all anyway. I'm losing. I thought for sure Katrina was in second, and based on that, Katrina seemed passive to me, and I knew Annie was aggressive. So I'm like, so Annie's up 11-10. She's going to bet to cover because she bet when she had a lock game. Why wouldn't she bet to cover when first of all, the category had literature in it, and Annie's a bookseller. I knew she liked lit. I knew she was an aggressive bettor. So I was like, Annie's going to go all in, and I need her to miss anyway. Katrina seemed passive to me, so I felt like I needed to double her because I felt like she would easily bet zero. It's just like, and that was just based on vibes. And then it made me feel better when I would have lost anyway had I bet zero, because if I had known that Annie was in second and Katrina was in first, I probably would have bet zero, because I knew Annie would go hard even in the second place position there, which she ended up doing, and she would have dropped below me. If Katrina had bet correctly that game, obviously, people are going to bet the way they want to, but Katrina in first there, like, statistically, she should be betting to cover the 10,000 double. Mm-hmm. And had Katrina bet correctly, I would have won with a zero bet in that scenario, and I would have felt awful if I would have lost, because I was betting assuming that the person in second was going to bet the zero bet, or the bet to cover my double, which would have been like $201. So I'm like, I need to make $10,000. Had I known Annie was the second place person, I would have assumed she was going to bet hard on a category that I felt like she liked, and probably just bet zero and prayed. and I'm glad it didn't backfire because I would have felt real bad. But yeah, but that just goes like in the moment and the nerves and stuff. Like I didn't realize who was in first, and it like had I have been focused and 100% like playing on what I thought would have happened. If you would have told me what is Anna going to bet here and what is Katrina going to bet here, I would have said they both would have bet hard enough that had I bet 0, I would have won on a triple stumper. But I did not bet that way. Didn't even know that was the case when I was playing because I was just so down. I was just like, screw it, I'm all in. Like I don't care. I need to get this right to win. She's going to bet nothing. Oh wait, she bet everything. What was I thinking?
But as it turned out, Katrina bet kind of like as if she were in second place there, with the smaller.
Yeah, like had Katrina had missed the question and she was at the value that Annie was at, she would have had just enough to be ahead of me had I bet 0, which is why I thought she was in second place. And like even before I just for some reason I felt like Katrina was in second, and she seemed more passive to me, which obviously the read was right because she in first place should be betting to cover, but she bet less than that, so she was a passive bettor, and my bet was based on her being in second, which is my own fault, and I'm glad it didn't affect me. I'm really glad. I would have felt really, really bad.
Okay, some more comments. Mara, Apostle, watching your competitors and getting to know them can definitely make you question your strategy. And a response from Jennifer Morrow, I started giving strategy tips to my competitors in the green room on tape day too, because I love strategy that much.
She was brave then. I remember thinking, like, I kind of want to ask if anybody else read the final wager, but then I don't.
A couple of us on my tape day were talking about J Archive, and then there was like a couple of people who had seen it and like a couple of people who hadn't seen it. And so everyone was like, wait, there's like an archive of questions. And like, I guess I knew about J Archive, so I guess I kind of sounded like I was like really super, I mean, I don't know, I think I gave off a different impression there, but
I would think that anyone going on a show knows what J Archive is. I don't know, maybe not. I talked to, like, I'm good friends with Ryan Alley and Allison Solomon, who were on the show about a year and a half ago, and like he was telling me how he studied for Jeopardy, and he would use the archive, and she would use the archive, and this was before, and they don't know anyone else who's been on the show, and this was before I met them. Like, I just assumed everyone who gets on the show is using the archive for studying.
I would say that's probably because as soon as you start doing Google searches for the show, the archive will come up.
Yeah.
Okay. Changing the tack of discussion here a little bit. Kristin, it's been a year since you've been on, and by my recollection, it seems like the modern era of Jeopardy seeming to go viral at a moment's notice kind of started with your single-player Final Jeopardy.
I was actually just thinking about that earlier today.
Yeah. How do you, how do you think things have changed for, are contestants, would you say contestants are better prepared now for that than they might have been, last year?
I think even if they aren't consciously thinking about it, I would think it would be hard to ignore that if you're going on Jeopardy, it sure has gone viral a lot lately. And when I was on, it hadn't really. So I think that if you're paying attention to Jeopardy at all, you're going to notice that. Although, as far as I know, I think several of the people who have gone viral in the past year had no way of knowing it was coming. It was something that the audience didn't like about them that they didn't know previously. So I think, if there's an unusual gameplay scenario, then I think you can kind of psych yourself up like, okay, this might go viral. But there are definitely some people who have been blindsided by it too.
Now, would you say you kind of prepare? I would say you seem to be friends with a lot of people who have been, who come through each tape day. like on Facebook. Now, do you prepare them for, the possibility that they might go viral unexpectedly?
It's not so much that as just making sure that people have support in place no matter what happens.
Okay, I mean, yeah, that sounds very fair, and it's very, I would say, incredibly important and even for people to know that. I get, the idea that the Jeopardy family,
Yes.
has everyone's back, so to say.
Definitely everybody, and I think that that's been one thing that kind of came out of the the whole thing where it goes viral a lot is that the Jeopardy family really has kind of bonded, and any prospective contestants out there, just talk to any of us, or we'll find us, or we'll find you, we'll bring you in, we've got your backs.
Now, what would you say has surprised you the most about, and then I guess everyone, in terms of Jeopardy going viral? Was there something that really surprised you? Like, I'm really surprised something went viral?
I've been very surprised when it was like critiques of something about a player's like personality or something physical about them or something like that. Like, yeah, fine, okay, if like I said, if there's a crazy gameplay scenario, like that one game where everybody finished with 0, obviously that's going to get attention. But when it was something like, oh, we really hate this particular player for a completely arbitrary reason, like, yeah, that has shocked me, and I think those are the ones that upset me the most.
I mean, I think some of the funniest stuff that's happened on the show, like, hasn't gone viral. Like, I don't think What Is a Leave went viral. I don't, like, I mean, if something was going to go viral, I feel like it should have been that because that was really funny. And, like, that made me legitimately laugh, and anyone who watches this show would know what that meant. But, like, that didn't go viral. And so I kind of was surprised by that. And, like, what did go viral was, like, some person who said Auburn instead of Alabama. Like, who cares?
Right.
Yeah. Now, Bill, you taped right after. I would say you taped about somewhere around 2 or 3 weeks after the Auburn, Alabama virality.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but.
And about a week after the 000 game.
Okay.
Were you cognizant of the possibility that Jeopardy might go viral? That for whatever reason outside of your control, that your episode might go viral?
I thought the episode before it might because of the Clavin bit, but I didn't. I mean, I wasn't thinking about any of that stuff. I don't follow Twitter or Jboard or even really watch the show. Like I said, I follow on the archive, but I don't have cable, and I don't really get into the politics of it, so I don't really make notice. People tell me things sometimes, or like when people I know are getting, like I knew when Kristin was in the single person Final Jeopardy. I knew when Louis Vertel did the snap on the Crucible question, but only because I know who those people are. I don't know.
Okay. So a couple of things on the hashtag, again from Mara. Ultimately, your gut and intel should help you choose between a few rational options, not toss those options out. And some backgrounder before I read out the next one. Our next episode of Jeopardy Live Panel will be taped on location at Sapphire Bar, downtown Guelph, next Monday evening, March 21st, at 9 p.m. Eastern. There are going to be a few Jeopardy people in Guelph for, I guess, an event, and we're going to do a Jeopardy Live Panel while everyone's in town, which leads me to the next comment from @Ruquin. Oh my God, hashtag Jeopardy Live Panel. I just realized that Andy is making me do one next week. LOL. As anyone who's ever been on panel can attest, it's not bad. You'll do fine. It'll be great. And you don't have to worry. Um, Normally I get to ask what somebody had for lunch, but unfortunately, you aired too early in the week for me to ask that question of you, which is a shame, but because it's the one standing question I generally have here on Jeopardy Live panel is the "What did you have for lunch?" But well, I guess I mean because it was a lunch break, you obviously left studio.
Yeah.
So what did you do afterwards?
They wouldn't let me sit with the contestants and eat lunch, so I just left. I had to be sequestered, so I went to lunch with my friends who were there. I had about 4 or 5 people come watch, and with Jerome and Brian, who were ex-contestants, we went to lunch at some place in Culver City. It's a really good Italian place. I can't remember what it's called. They had real good ice cream. It had a one-word name. I can't remember what it was. It was real cute. Brian would be able to tell you. It was his suggestion. But yeah, that's what I did. Some guy let me go in and get my clothes, even though it was locked up. He was a nice dude. Most people there were nice.
Okay. Interestingly enough, I think that well, obviously Jerome was there watching you. I personally am grateful that he was, because he actually was the one to at some point on, I think during Tuesday's episode, that was the where I guess Alex, Rocky, and another member of the audience got into a bit of a discussion about Canadians and the online test, which of course came out in the news a little bit later on.
Yeah, that was
that was weird.
Yeah, that went viral. Oh boy, but no, I was, as somebody who wanted to actually get the true story out to the media, I was very thankful that Jerome was there and was able to recount that conversation, as that has proven to be very useful. So, just something I figured I'd say. I guess this is probably a good point. As a warning to you guys, I'm going to be talking probably a bit for the next 10 minutes. Because for my next segment here on Jeopardy Live panel, obviously Keith Williams of The Final Wager found himself rather down about things after Friday's episode. And I don't know if you happened to watch it, you saw him take his whiteboard down at the end. And whether or not this actually was his final analysis, I'm not sure. I personally hope that it is not. But in preparation for tonight's live panel, what I did, I posted the status to my Facebook last night, asking for as many people as wanted to send to me what they like about Keith. And I'm going to read a whole bunch of these out right now. So I'm kind of going to read these out in the order that I received them, and I apologize to you guys for taking so long, but there are a few of them. The first one comes from Corey Annotato. He's with Buzzer Blog. There's only 3 people I trust when it comes to Jeopardy game theory: Ben Ingram, Christian Carrion, and Keith Williams. And as anyone who's read Buzzer Blog knows, I hate almost everyone. To not be hated but actively trusted by me speaks volume to Keith's incredible insight. Jeff Shea, dear Keith, I understand that you've been having a tough week concerning the final wager, and I want to let you know that everything is going to be all right. You still do great things, but for not just the Jeopardy community, but also the world in general. Trying to fix wagers one bad wager at a time. We spend lots of time enjoying your commentary on wagers and the shenanigans that may accompany them. Corey, I'm looking at you, smile emoticon. And we enjoy just being your friend and spending time with you online. There simply will be people who don't pay attention. That happens, and maybe it'll just take some time, but already your influence has been widespread, being talked about on media source after media source. It's only a matter of time before your work is talked about as much as the great John Nash himself. Okay, maybe not that far, but you'll get there. Just stay strong and know that we've always got your back. Amanda Walker. You writing your Beatles lyrics and other words quiz is what finally inspired me to get an alpaca farm account. It was so fun, and you did an amazing job at making it just the right difficulty. And because of you, I now experience the joys of alpaca farm on a regular basis. Patrick Frappier. I actually played Keith in Learned League on Friday and PM'd him thanking him for his efforts on the final wager. Consider this a reiteration of that message. He's definitely a positive addition to the Jeopardy community and one of the best college champions ever. Aria Gerson. All these statistics stuff that you post makes me insanely happy. Mainly because I love data and I love Jeopardy, and every time there was a new statistics post, I'd go crazy and play around with it because I don't have the computer skills to collect that data myself. Anyway, Jeopardy and data science is a really niche topic, and the final wager filled that niche, so thank you for that. Mara Apostle. When it came time for me to wager for the first time, I said that this was one of the hardest things I'd ever had to do. Maybe I should have chosen my words more carefully. It was an extremely stressful decision because the stakes were high and I had imperfect information and so on. But the actual decision wasn't hard because of Keith. Because his basic tutorial and his daily videos had given me the opportunity to train for this decision and to be confident that I was making the best decision I could. That training won me the game. Without Keith, I wouldn't be a Jeopardy champion. Carrie Green. I appreciate Keith's killer rendition of One Night in Bangkok, being an 80s girl and all.
It was amazing.
Terrence Jordan. You have to be smart to be on Jeopardy. Keith's work makes people smarter. I read up on his wagering guidelines before going on Sports Jeopardy, and this is before I was involved in the online Jeopardy community. I check his site regularly and always enjoy his thought process. Harvey Silikovitz. Keith makes game theory and math comprehensible even for people like myself who think of themselves as weak in that subject area. And he heightens my appreciation of the game by helping me better understand how contestants can maximize their chance of winning. Other features on his website, such as his recent interview with Fritz Holznagel, are also informative and valuable. If I am so fortunate as to get the call, I have no doubt that I will benefit from what I've learned from the final wager. And the list of contestants who have actually been better prepared due to Keith's efforts is an increasingly long one. Assuredly, Keith and his website are widely appreciated. Somebody who wishes to remain anonymous. Keith got me into Zabayone, and it's delicious. Pat Kavanaugh. He runs the best Think Difference and match games on JBoard, and he's made life so much easier for everyone who hosts with his score tracker. True. And although I was not in a position to win my Jeopardy game, I knew what I should wager and what my competitors should bet, because I had paid attention to his wagering strategies. Plus, he's the only one to beat me in Learned League so far this season. I have no idea whatsoever why that is, but it's the truth. I'll get back to that part later. Amelia Hirschberger. I don't know Keith, but I have a great deal of admiration for what he does. He takes something entertaining, a game show, and uses his considerable skill to communicate a complicated concept to all of us in simplified but never dumbed down terms. Ben Wiles. It is a thrill to fulfill your childhood dreams, but as you get older, you may find that enabling the dreams of others is even more fun. That's a quote, Randy Pausch, The Last Lecture. Enabling the dreams of others was at the heart of why I created the Summer Hiatus Challenge, and it's what the final wager has been about since day one. David Kendall. Keith is a great guy who cares not only about Jeopardy, but also about its fans. He is the kind of guy who will give you the shirt off your back, or the shirt off his back, and I'm honored to be his friend. Salmia Mayapan. To most of us, watching Keith Williams' The Final Wager videos were a fun way to prepare for our tapings. But for others, it was simply the good advice that they just didn't take. Who would have thought? It figures. And while his thoughts on Ross and Monica from Friends are a little unsettling, his retirement from the daily recaps will leave us with a whole lot of 808s and heartbreak. Fred Vaughn. I saw Jeopardy with new, more thoughtful, more aware eyes after I got introduced to the final wager. Let Keith know that the next time I'm visiting my family in Brooklyn, we will need to have a drink and at least one slice of pizza. Plain old cheese will do. Sophia Zinger. I was personally there for a couple of recordings of it, and it's always fun to watch someone who is so excited about something and who has the capability of teaching it in such a vibrant way. India Cooper. I'll probably never play again, sniffle, but I look forward to learning something from you every day. Chris Becker. It is human nature to desire a return for effort expended, even if that return is simple validation that the effort is appreciated and understood. Looking at the wagers and gameplay this past week, I can see how Keith came to feel neither appreciated nor understood. Keith, I can only speak for myself in saying that I truly appreciate the effort that you put into the final wager, and I am gaining some little understanding of game theory and wagering thanks to you. Again, thank you. Stephanie Yass. Keith, you are a kind, welcoming presence in the Jeopardyverse, and you also sing a mean karaoke number. Thanks for making something that is really tough for many of us, okay, me, understandable and even interesting. Keep doing you. Claudia Perry. I likely think of myself as more well-informed than smart. Keith is both and the trivial, or trivia world, and that's a better place for him. And one more contribution from Jennifer Morrow. Let's see if I can get this to work properly. I am certainly hoping so. Let's see here. Yeah. So on that note, from everyone, thank you so much, Keith. I certainly hope that you continue, but and I hope you appreciate all of the those words that have that the community has for you. So on that note, I guess that's it for my notes. Does anyone on the panel have any questions for anyone else on the panel?
No.
No, but I just want to say I didn't have a chance to send you my words, but I appreciate everything that Keith does, and he knows what a vital role he played in my preparation. So, and I have to say, I think maybe he's feeling discouraged about the number of bad wagers that still show up on TV, but he has no way of knowing if it weren't for him how many more there would be. So, what he does is incredible.
Some more things through on the hashtag. From Matt Carberry, the final wager has added a new dimension to my Jeopardy watching, making it much more enjoyable, and he hopes to be able to put it to use one day. Let's see, what else? From Jennifer Morrow. What is a leave was too obscure to go viral. Hilarious to Jeopardy fans, but viral stuff appeals to the masses. Mara, I should strive to include the word out in all of my tweets, just for the joy of hearing Andy say it. Hashtag home sweet home. There's one more tweet here. Can I remain anonymous and say he's smoking hot? Though if you go on to Twitter, you'll know who it's from. So any other questions, comments, random things you'd like to say? So the next time, I guess I come live it'll be on location at Sapphire Bar, about half an hour after a pub quiz. So it should be a lot of fun. If you're interested in coming out that night, tickets are still available to the pub quiz. It is the cover is $5 a person, and do stick around for the live panel taping afterwards. At Sapphire, downtown Guelph, Monday, every Monday, but the special live panel taping will be on the 21st. And one more on the hashtag. Hey, look, I made Andy blush. Let's see here. So let me get the credits card together for everyone here on Jeopardy live panel and the JeopardyFan.com. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for taking part. Thank you to all who contributed for the with your words, your videos. Thank you very much, and have an excellent night. I will see you in just over a week's time. Have a good night.
Thank you. See ya.
Thank you. Good night.
Night.